Welcome to I'm Still Here, real conversations about living with metastatic breast cancer. I'm your host, Heather Jose. I was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer at the age of 26 and have now been living with metastatic disease for over 25 years. This podcast is a space for honest conversation about what it actually looks like to live with metastatic cancer, the challenges, the realities, and the ways we continue to build meaningful lives alongside this disease. I'm really glad you're here. Welcome back to I'm Still Here. Today we have a segment which is everybody's favorite, the Sensational Survivor Series. And I have Janelle with me today. And Janelle, will you just introduce yourself and tell the people about you?
Sure. My name's Janelle Slavic. I'm 40 years old, and I've been living with metastatic breast cancer for 14 years. I'm a new mom to 20-month-old twin boys who I welcomed via surrogacy. And
That's
I am also,
awesome. Go ahead.
I'm also an artist part-time.
What kind of artist?
I do a lot of pottery. I make jewelry. I dabble in a lot of it, though. I just enjoy art. I love sharing art.
Awesome. I am an oil painter from way back in the day, and I need to get back into it more often, but I love being able to be creative. So
Yeah. Super therapeutic, too.
absolutely, it's good for all of us. Yeah. So let's start out by, can you take me back to your diagnosis, kind of what it was like in the early days?
Sure. Yeah. So I was 24 when I was diagnosed with stage 2B breast cancer. I'm a very emotional person, but when I was diagnosed, the emotional aspect kind of just went out the door. Everybody didn't recognize me. I just was like, all right, head on. Let's do this. Let's get the physical. And then a year later, after all the typical treatments and everything, it hit me emotionally. And then I was good for about a year. And then in 2012, at 26 years old, I was diagnosed with metastatic. The early time with that, it's kind of a blur at this point, being 14 years out, but it's definitely like life-changing information. You look at things differently. I stopped worrying about little things and started realizing like that I need to live my life the way want to live my life, not the way others want me to live it. I was in college when I was
I was going to
initially,
ask you,
yeah,
what was your life like, your
yeah.
real life prior to
I
cancer?
I was in college finishing up. I had like a year left. I had changed my
Hmm.
degree a few times, so it was definitely delayed. I had ended ended my time at college because of my diagnosis. So I was like, especially after the stage 2B, I was trying to find myself. And then the cancer came back and I was starting to work again. I was starting to try to figure out my life and then how cancer is. It just doesn't
Who
care what
did you
anyone.
have supporting you in the early days?
I'm super lucky to have a great supportive system. I was adopted in my teens, and my adoptive parents were there all the time. My adoptive father, Benjamin, he went to all my appointments. He, like, even, with the breast surgeon, the awkward ones, he was there. When I first felt a lump, I felt comfortable going to my future mother-in-law at that point. I was dating my current husband then. I was 24, he was 22. We were dating a few years. I gave him an out and he said, absolutely not. So fast forward 20 years, we're still together. We have our two beautiful boys. I have a twin sister. She's always been super supportive and always there for me through all the aspects of this cancer journey and world. Just my whole family has always been very supportive and very willing to jump in when I need the extra help. And so it was great to have them
Yeah.
along through this whole thing.
So being diagnosed with like 2B first, were you under the impression like, okay, we'll kind of beat this and move on?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I was diagnosed, I was almost reassured that it was nothing too.
Yeah.
Leading up to the diagnosis, like, oh yeah, I felt a lump. Like, all right, but cancer lumps don't move, or like all the doctors kind of were saying certain things. But let's get it checked. Let's get it checked. Thank goodness they got it checked because I've heard horror stories. But
Yeah.
I did get it checked, and at 24, I got a biopsy and all that. But in my head, it was still like they kept telling me it's nothing, it's nothing. And then they get a call and find out I had cancer. It was like I had said, like, all right, let's do this. Like, what's the plan? Luckily, I had a family friend who got me into a surgeon very quickly. And I just listened to the doctors, what they said, what the plan was. And I went through that almost year of surgery and chemo. And even like I had some ups and downs there. I had an allergic reaction, all that. But I definitely in my head was like, all right, we're going to beat it. And then that's it. Like, and then even with the, like, I'm estrogen positive. So
Mm-hmm.
even with the taking the, tamoxifen or whatever it was going to be, like, all right, that's just a pill. Like we can throw that in and then we get back to life, like as originally planned.
Okay. So how did you find out about the recurrence?
So I was seeing my doctor and I was on the injection that's supposed to put you into chemical menopause. And my estrogen levels were just off the roof. And apparently it was not working. And then I just kind of like started talking to some people, and I had never had a scan after all my initial stuff.
Okay.
So I just kind of was in the office and feeling a certain way. I had no symptoms. I just had this like inkling, and I said, I want a scan. Like, why haven't I had another scan since everything's been done? And I just wouldn't leave his office until he ordered one. And then that's when I found out that I had a spread,
Okay.
which
Do
like,
you, yeah, what is,
who knows if it was there dormant and all that. But when I was initially diagnosed, they had thought based on the scans and everything that I was probably going to be like a stage 1, something like that.
mm,
So when I had my surgery and everything, apparently the doctor went and talked to my family and said that it had spread to some lymph nodes and the tumor, the one tumor was larger than they had saw in scans. So that they were anticipating I might be like closer to a stage 3. My family decided not to tell me this while I was healing.
okay.
So when I went into my appointment to talk about the biopsy and everything, again, I had family with me and I'm seeing like them relieved that it's 2B. And I'm like shocked because I'm thinking, what happened to stage 1? Like, what happened
Yeah.
to this early stage? And then I found out that the doctor had told them that. And it was like a strange feeling of like losing your autonomy.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm their child, like their love, like, and I get it, especially being a mom now. Like, you don't want to put that extra stress while you're healing from a major surgery.
Well, and 24 is so young, right?
So
Like
young. I mean,
I
if
look at,
I got told one more time, like, what do you mean? Like, you're just too young, all this. Like,
I
I was like,
know.
I'm like, we
I
just
heard
need to
that
get
as
that
well.
too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that often too, but it's also just you're kind of in that space between like being your own adult and not yet, right? So
Yeah.
of course, in any situation, you're going to defer to who you would consider the adults in the room,
Yeah.
especially in that one. So, do you feel comfortable sharing where you had progression to?
Yeah, so I had it in my mediastinum, my hilar. It was like initially up against my esophagus. So they did the biopsy through that way. Since then I've had that area and then like some of my pulmonary artery was like involved with it. And then just recently it spread to my brain in August of last year.
Okay. And has that caused treatment changes along the way then?
Yeah, I've had a few different oncologists through 14 years.
Yeah.
At first I didn't question it. At 24, like you said, like you're
Yeah.
still kind of a child, like you're going to do what the doctor says. But after that first diagnosis of metastatic, I'm like, all right, maybe I need to shop around and find the right partner for me. And then just through the years, insurance changes and other
Yeah.
issues. But I'm sorry, chemo brain. I totally just forgot. Oh yeah, what was the question?
Just different have you been on different
Oh, yeah. So
treatments
I've been
over the
on a
years?
few. So I would get like some small progression and we would change treatment. I was on a lot of estrogen blocking type for
Yeah.
quite a long time. I was on some oral chemos, CDK4/6 inhibitors for a while. And now, yeah, recently I had my first bout of some radiation.
Mhm.
I had gamma knife radiation and I've been on Enhertu now
Okay.
since August.
Okay. What do you think what shifted for you learning about cancer? Like, was there a moment or something that you can think about that really just made you kind of turn into the next chapter here?
I don't know, like, a specific moment, but I say often, and people think I'm crazy, that, like, cancer saved my life in a way. Like, I was doing, like, what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to go to college after high
Yeah.
school. My childhood wasn't all peaches and
Yeah.
rainbows, so, like, I was on a good track. I was doing what was the right route. Like, I was gonna be a math teacher because 'cause I'm very good at math, but I have a passion for art, but that was put on the side. So then getting the diagnosis and starting these new treatments and feeling my body differently and then starting to see, all right, what can I do? Like, it definitely brought me back to, like, the passion in the arts and even just, like, finding the community and seeing
Yeah.
where when I couldn't work, like, where can I volunteer? Like, where can I
Yeah.
share things with people that,
So it becomes more about filling yourself up and being true to who you are,
yeah,
right?
definitely being true to who you are. Like,
Yeah.
I remember losing my hair the first time was like, 24, it's traumatic. Like, you're a young girl, like, I had long blonde hair my whole life, like, and it was just like, whoa. And then the second time it was like, oh, this doesn't matter. Like, and then it almost helped me like find my identity. Like, and then I lived a lot of my life with like very colorful hair and like,
Mm,
you know, I don't, I don't need to dress for the outside world. I don't need to
yeah.
present, myself in a wig for the outside world.
Yeah. I feel that for sure. I what you're talking about also in terms of a creative path, I've been thinking about a lot also. My son is very creative, and there just isn't a track. There's not a laid out path for people who are creative to kind of achieve their dreams, and it isn't the same, and, I don't I just think that's a challenge for people, right? Because
Yeah.
there's so much of that beyond this, right, where are you going next? And creativity just doesn't really look like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so you are 14 years in, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So what does a good day look for like for you now?
A good day would be like waking up, not initially having cancer on my mind.
Yeah.
Like obviously like we all slept good last night, babies slept through the night. Just like waking up and going in their room and seeing happy smiles.
Mhm.
Um, just playing, not having super fatigue.
Yeah.
Uh, being able to just be a family. If I get some of my creative juices flowing that day, that's a great day.
Mhm.
Mm, That's definitely like just, ideal day. And then just like planning the future still.
Yeah. Yeah. Thinking about what you want to do and be a part of.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 20 months old, so they're talking a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They're at that really fun that's probably my son came home at 18 months, so that it was
Uh-huh.
he hit the ground running and
Oh, yeah.
such a fun age for those
It's
guys.
fun, but it is wild. Two at
Yeah.
once is no joke.
Oh, I bet. I
Yeah.
bet. Yeah. I can't imagine that. Woo.
Yeah.
Um, is there something that you wish that someone had told you in year 1 that you know now to be true? Something that they could have warned you about or I don't know.
Um, I think that just like it does get easier. It's not like uh it's not that it gets easier, no. It's like that the panic kind of subsides, right?
Yeah.
It's not easier necessarily, like, switching treatments, all this stuff, but it becomes just, like, this normal which is crazy to say, right? Like, why is this normal? But it just becomes, like you become more anchored, I think. Like, that's
Yeah.
what I feel, like, the scan anxiety gets less, like, you know and we still have fear, like, it
Mhm.
would be crazy not to, but I think there's a balance where and a point where I started to learn that, like, there's bigger emotions that are more important to put in the forefront, like love and, you know, kindness and all these things that I can put out and I can receive. And it kind of just lets the fear be there, but like in its own little box that like reminds me that there's a good reason for fear too, like because we are alive and it gives us, that fight.
Yeah, and not only that, but it also is that warning signal, right?
Yes.
That fear is what tells us, "No, I can't let this lie. I have to talk to somebody about it," or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yes.
yeah, I kind of think about it as like learning to live with an uncertainty, right? Like
Yes.
we definitely know that this is a lesson, and you don't know what could
Yeah.
happen, right? And
Yeah.
not from a fear standpoint, but just like we gotta be able to roll with what
Yeah.
comes next.
I think too, like that, like a lot of people just associate like hope with like the cure, right? But
Right.
like hope is like me seeing you 27 years, like that's hope. Like hope is hopefully someone seeing me 14 years, like and having
Absolutely.
babies after it, just like
Yeah. Yeah.
like that's what hope is about, like just regaining like your power and still like building a life that you see for yourself. And maybe even like doing it in a way that some people don't have the privilege to get this like flash of like, this is not the life I want to live. Like,
Yeah.
being a math teacher would have been fine. And
Yeah.
I'm sure I would have been successful at it, but it wasn't my passion. It wasn't like what I want to put my energy into.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, I mean, being able to the more we can share our stories, the more we can kind of light the way for other people. So that's why, doing the series has been so neat because I know that each story resonates with somebody different in a whole different way. So let's talk a little bit about, your unique situation in terms of these little boys. How did
Yeah.
that come to be and how did you, I mean, just from the start, like,
Yeah. So again, I was 24. Luckily, a really good friend's mother worked for my breast surgeon. So
okay.
she got me in, and the breast surgeon was caring. Like she wasn't just, there for her job. Like she saw I was 24 and that I could have a future. So she suggested freezing my eggs. So I went through the process, even though I was estrogen positive, of freezing my eggs. Um, I had,
Can you tell people a little bit
yeah.
what that looks like?
Yeah, so I had surgery first to remove the, tumor, and then, I had to do basically like an IVF cycle that someone would do, injections and all that to, help your eggs create more than one at a time,
Yeah.
and then I had a small surgical procedure. They, take them out. Since I was 24, I had a lot of eggs at once. I had, I think, 26, and then they, freeze them. So this was in 2010. In New Jersey, the technology was, like, just kind of happening for freezing eggs over embryos, which was presented because I was with a partner,
Mhm.
but the legal aspects of it at that point was too much for me with everything that was going on. So
Yeah.
I said, "No, let's just do mine, keep them separate." So I went to New York City, we did that, and then they were just kinda on ice for quite a while. Um, Again, it was always in our minds that we would have children.
Yeah.
And, when I was diagnosed metastatic, it changed a lot. I had my ovaries removed.
Mm.
At that point, they still let me keep my uterus because there was like some, I don't know who had the hope, I guess, that I could carry a
Okay.
child. So, when my disease became stable at one point, probably like 3 years into the metastatic, like I brought up to a doctor, my oncologist at the time, and she, kind of like, was like, "No, you're never gonna be able to carry a baby, like,
Mhm.
I'm sorry that you have your uterus still, like, it's like a false hope." So I grieved. I like 100%, even though I think I knew in my head that I wouldn't be carrying a baby, it's
Mhm.
still like I went through the grief. And then it was kind of like almost grieving for quite a few years, the idea of being a mother even. I
Absolutely.
was an aunt. I loved being an aunt. My twin sister has a son who I adore. I took him when he was little. I took him on trips. Like I've
Mhm.
watched. You know, he was a huge part of. He still is. He's
Yeah.
amazing. So I was like, all right, maybe we can be okay with being the cool aunt, the cool uncle. And I talked to. We were dating. We weren't married yet, but like I talked to him, and he's just so supportive. So he was like, if we're meant to be parents, we will. If we're not, that's okay too. we started traveling the world and, doing things that you can do without kids. We got a dog, like,
Mhm.
um, and then I don't know, like I was stable for quite a while and I just like saw a lot of friends having babies and,
Yeah.
all this. And I'm just like, well, maybe we should look at being parents. Like, so we talked about adoption, we talked about surrogacy. I had a friend who was metastatic that struggled with adoption.
Mhm.
And like she shared her story with me, and it made me nervous
Yeah.
to go through and then not get approved because of my um, diagnosis.
Yep.
Um, so we just, we dove into it. When I get into something, I like research like crazy.
And your
Um,
partner was okay with, like, diving in?
yeah,
Did that make
it was
him
his idea a
scared
lot
too? Okay.
actually. Yeah, like the whole surrogacy thing I say all the time, like Mike was probably the one that pushed for that more than like trying the adoption route. Like, um, luckily I had kept up with my storage fees on the eggs.
Mhm.
So we just started diving into it. I joined groups and, just researched and tried to figure out, what this would look like for us, like timeline and all this. I am getting older in my head. So I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
maybe we'll do this and have one and be done. My sister has a beautiful relationship with her only child. Like,
Mhm.
um, so then I just, we decided to take this route. Our family, again, super supportive, loved the idea. Uh, I think even that, like, his parents kind of not grieved, maybe, but accepted that they were not going to be grandparents. So to
Yes.
hear it, they were kind of surprised too.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, luckily, I used like a Facebook matching group to save
Okay.
money as opposed to an agency.
Okay.
And, you know, it was a strange experience.
Mhm.
It's almost like dating for someone to carry your baby.
Yeah.
And it's like, swipe right, swipe left, and then you get
Yeah.
ghosted and you get lied to. And it's like, it almost felt like, all right, we're going to have to try to take a new step and see if, maybe an agency is gonna help us. And then like, the door just opened and there was Amanda and it was just like, I knew she was the one day
Okay.
one that we were talking. And then just everything went, like it was meant to be. Like everything went smoothly. Our first transfer took like, you know, our
Yeah.
embryo split and we got twins, which, is one of those rare things that happen. And everybody jokes if it's rare, it's gonna happen to Janelle. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Are you, willing to kind of talk financially, was that, like, overwhelming to think about, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a big part of our conversation of like whether we could manage this or not. Like that
Mhm.
was a lot about the adoption versus the surrogacy, like what the cost difference we're looking at. Um, that's a lot of that research that I was doing. You might find like one number, but then there's a lot of other factors to account for.
Yeah.
I'm not working. I'm on disability.
Mhm.
So Mike's our breadwinner. So of course, like wanting to make sure he's comfortable with it. So we did end up um, taking out like a loan on our house. Luckily, we had a very low mortgage.
Yeah.
So now we have like more of a like kind of on the lower end mortgage.
Got it.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
nothing that we would change.
Absolutely. Um, were you there for the birth?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Luckily, I had just opened my search to like the 48 continental states, like
Okay.
United States, because I was like, I had, at first my ideal situation is someone in New Jersey, someone that I can like really, create a relationship with and go to appointments. I'm not working.
Yeah.
And then, you spread your radius and then spread your radius. So I had
Yeah.
just opened it to this, and Amanda reached out to me, and she lived right in Long Island. So it was less than 2 hours from me. So I was able to go to every appointment.
Wow.
I don't know that I missed one. My husband went to a lot of them. Um, and we were both able to be at the births, and her um, doctor that delivered was amazing with like the whole surrogacy thing in New York. It's fairly new.
Hmm.
Um, so a lot of the staff didn't entirely get it, but the doctor was amazing and let us both in the OR for delivery, which doesn't usually happen, but
Yeah,
we both got to see, our boys once they were born.
that's amazing. Do you still have a relationship with her?
Yeah, we're very good friends. Um, she moved ever so slightly further into Long Island, and she's actually pregnant again for
Okay.
another intended parent. But we talk, pretty much daily. We text, we see, what's going on, and she's come out a few times. We've gone out to her. She was at the boy's birthday party. She's a beautiful soul. She like put together a meal train when I had to start IV chemo when the boys were only 6 months old. And then when I had my seizure, she like tried to run one again and, just tried to, she's a little bit further and she's got a little one and a lot going on. So she was just trying to do everything she could do to like support us through
Yeah.
the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. So the boys, we call her like Aunt Amanda. Her
Okay,
husband's great too.
that's great. Um, can you talk a little bit about parenting and cancer and
Yeah.
the
So being a mom's hard, right? Like,
yeah,
uh, I wouldn't say nobody warns you, but like you don't really get full warning of like how hard. And then having twins is
yeah,
extra hard. It's not double, it's definitely more than double.
yeah,
So when they were born, I definitely had some like postpartum, which was crazy because I didn't carry them, right? Like
yeah,
they're mine and they drive me crazy. But
yeah,
it was wild in my head to like recognize that this is definitely like some postpartum type feelings because again, I didn't carry them. Like my
yeah.
hormones aren't necessarily going all over the place, but mm,
Yeah, but I would also say, like, this grief over it doesn't go away forever,
no,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's still times that it gets me, so I can totally understand how some of that would come, kind of interweave there.
yeah. Um, I, also like went through a struggle of like, if there was one baby, like I'm so thankful and I'm so blessed that we had twins. Like as a twin myself, like it's a special relationship. Like, and we wouldn't have been able to do this more than once. So like to have them
Yeah,
have each other right off the bat and like, you know, not have to contemplate down the line of like, can we get him a sibling somehow or, you know,
mhm,
what route can we take for that? But it's definitely a blessing, but having 2 is just so stressful, and then when I had I had some progression when they were only a month old,
okay.
um, which is just like, really? Like, come on. Like, we
I
did
know
this.
the scams don't stop, right?
No,
Like,
no.
oof,
And I'm, like, just happy to, like, go to my doctor and show them my beautiful babies and,
mhm,
like and then it's like, "Oh, okay." So then it's like, "Alright, let's try this pill," which, that's what I've been on I was on for a long time, like, pills. So it's like, "Alright, let's try a pill and see." And then it didn't work. So then, they're only 6 months old and I have to start IV chemo, which is a whole
mhm,
nother story. Like pills, you're taking them at home. You have to go be
right,
seen at the doctor, frequently, but not as
right,
frequently. We're talking about like I have to jump into weekly chemo. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, how's this gonna work? I can't put them in daycare.
yeah.
I wasn't told I can't, but it was
You're
definitely
not going
not
to?
recommended
Yeah,
for 6-month-olds with, me
yeah,
being immunocompromised,
absolutely.
not knowing how I was gonna react with the IV chemo.
Yeah,
Um, so, we just like, you gotta figure it out, right? Like,
yeah,
it's like any part of this diagnosis or being a mom, you just gotta figure it out. Like, so it took a little while adjusting, but I did. I adjusted. We figured out help. mm, my husband would make sure he was off on chemo days. We started to talk about getting a babysitter,
mhm,
um, which was another struggle because you're also finding college kids who maybe want to go out. And then you're asking them, hey, if you're coming, are you willing to wear a mask in my house the whole time while you're playing
yeah,
with the babies? Like,
yeah.
so you're asking these extras, like, and
Yeah.
then, yeah, so then I definitely got into the routine though with, the Abraxane, and then I got NED in
Mhm.
July, right by their birthday, their 1-year birthday. We celebrated it. We went to the beach for the first time with the boys, and then I had a seizure days later.
Okay.
Yeah. So now it's a whole new adjustment. I can't drive, right? I couldn't
Yeah.
drive for months. Having children at that time and, like, just being stuck. Like, I walked so much, though. My
Yeah.
town's not, like, the easy I live on a very busy street, actually, but I'm like, "Get in the stroller, we're going for the walk."
Yeah.
Like, I gotta get out of this house, like,
Yeah.
uh, and then a new schedule, and then,
Yeah.
again, one of those crazy things that if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And Janelle, I got, like, steroid-induced mania, from the high dose steroids after the Gamma knife.
Yeah.
And I'm taking care of my babies. I'm home most days by myself. And then I don't know how, but, like, and luckily mine was very positive. I'm a positive person, so I don't know if that's why it, like, just presented this way. Like, I would break out in tears because I was so emotionally, like, overwhelmed in the greatest ways of, like, the community coming out and supporting me, like, offering me rides to places, like, you know,
Yeah.
more distant friends, like, offering to take me to my treatment. And, like, I would just call, like, someone and be like, "I'm just so so
It is
happy, and I
overwhelming.
don't know, like, what's going on."
Yeah.
And then, um oh, yeah, so then that happened, and then I recognized during this that, like, something's off. Like, it's not just the lack of sleep because of the steroids, it's, like, something's mentally. So I ended up calling my team and saying, like, "Am I, like, safe to take care of my babies by myself?"
Yeah.
And I think some of my family was, like, heartbroken that, like, I had to ask that, and, like, the answer was no, like, I should not because it
Mhm.
could go the other way very
Yeah.
easily. And I'm like, "You know what? Like, I'm not sad about it because, like, at least, like, I'm recognizing it and my team can be honest with me
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
tell me this." So,
Yeah.
it's definitely
I
been an
can't imagine.
adjustment, though.
So, like, you're not only sleep deprived from, having small children, you're also sleep deprived from steroids, which is its own little thing, right? There's
Yeah.
just whew, so much going on. You've
Yeah.
had, like, way more than you should be in the
Oh,
last 2
it
years.
was definitely yeah. Who needs sleep, right?
It's do you feel like do the boys pick up on anything, or do you talk about stuff? I just remember my daughter was 14 months old when I was diagnosed, and I would guess by about 20 months, she would, like, I think one of the things she said was mommy's medicine. Like, she found a pill,
Mm.
I sound like a terrible mom. She found a pill bottle, but you know what I mean? And
Inshallah.
and she just said mommy's medicine. And that was just kind of like, okay, how do we just kind of introduce this as this is part of our life?
Yeah, I love that question because I don't think there's enough for little kids, right? I've
Right.
found some books that are great, amazing books for, like, a slightly older child and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so, like, I think they can tell when I'm, like, feeling more fatigued.
Yeah.
Um, of course, I broke my foot recently too. Yeah, because
Why not?
yeah, why not? So I had to be off my foot, like, so I think they pick up when I'm
Mhm.
definitely, like, lower energy, like, after chemo days or,
Mhm.
um, you know, and, like, I still take the steroid and I get very,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like, chatty, and I play, like, harder that day, it seems. So I think they pick up on all those. Um, I don't necessarily talk to them, like, yet about, like,
Oh, no.
mommy's medicine and stuff, but,
Yeah.
um, I am in the middle of writing a children's book, though.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so
great.
in my mind, it's, like, gearing towards, like, 3 to 5-year-olds, like, that
Yeah.
age where they do start to get curious, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And just giving it simple, like, explanation, not, like, the in-depth or anything like that. And I
Yeah.
hope more people develop, like, literature for a young age.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I mean, the other thing that it brings to mind for me is, like, my son, because he was adopted because of cancer, right? He's grateful for that. And, like,
Yeah.
there is more than one thing that exists, right? Like, your grief over cancer, but also what comes from it and things like that. So their birth story is unique and awesome.
Yes.
But they'll also be thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah, we 100% plan to share their birth story and, like,
Yeah.
that special bond with Amanda.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people asked her at one point, like, does she miss the boys? Like, she carried them for 9 months, like, does she miss them? And she's like, "No, I miss seeing their mom every day, like, at a time." Like
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we really developed, like, this sister bond, like,
Right.
and I wouldn't change it for the world, like, so to me, she is their aunt, like,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, how awesome is it that we have people in this world that can do that for us, right? Like
Yeah.
that's really, really a great thing. All right. As we look at like wrapping up here, is there something that you would want to share with somebody who was just diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer?
Um, yeah, I think that's a good question. I've been presented with it and it's, this weird thing, right? Like we've been living with this for so long. So we can be looked at as like mentors in the community for someone new.
Hmm.
It's a lot of stress. So I wouldn't ever like say anything medical because I'm not a doctor, as much as we're so knowledgeable with our care and all this, but I'm
Yep.
not. So like I would more so go with the mental aspect and like what I've gone through. And just, I think it's the easiest thing to start out with is like saying sorry that you have to be a part of this group. Like
Hmm.
a lot of people get thrown off when you tell them that this is part of your life and don't know what to say and say the wrong things. And, you can just say like, that's awful or,
Yeah.
I'm sorry or say nothing. But
Or I have no words. I
I have no
works
words
very
is
well.
great. Yeah. Um, I would probably tell them to, like, try to focus on today,
Yeah.
don't worry about learning all the terminology, don't worry about, like, the next things, the all this, like, focus on today. You'll get the terminology, you'll become an expert of your own care, even if you don't want to. Um, every feeling that you're having is valid. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a very positive person, and I've told a lot of people it's not for outward, it's for me. If I'm not in a positive mood for a long time, like, I start to feel it. But it doesn't mean I don't have bad days, I don't have sad days. I cry, like, crying's a reminder that, like, we're alive too, right? Like, you want a baby to cry when they're born to
Yeah.
show you that there's life, like, so us crying is showing that we have life too, right?
Yeah.
Um, I would just, kind of tell them to be gentle, to give yourself grace. I tell people all the time, even
Yeah.
though I don't do it necessarily for myself.
Yeah. We
Um
don't always take our own
Oh,
advice.
yeah, and then just, to breathe and that, we're here for them when they're ready.
Yeah. You just went to YSC,
I
right?
did.
What'd you think?
I liked it. It was great to meet community, like,
Mhm.
I've been in this a long time. I've definitely, like, done some work with some cancer organizations, but nothing really specifically, like, metastatic.
Mhm.
Um, there was some feedback, and I hope that they take it, as
Yeah.
far as the metastatic route.
Yeah.
But it was great to see so many of us thriving and like just getting to meet each other and like creating these connections. And, you know,
Mhm.
it was very nice that they attempted to have specifics for us.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I mean, all of that. The place I actually felt the most included was at San Antonio.
I've
So
heard that too. Yeah.
it's really interesting that I never thought that would be the case. I thought I was just kind of coming in to check it out and see what
Yeah.
happens. But
Well, I'm
it
going
really was
to the metastatic living beyond breast cancer.
okay.
So I think because that's literally specifically
Yeah,
metastatic, I would hope that that's very, feels
yeah,
like our
yeah,
place.
yeah. I've been there in the past. It's been a long time, so hopefully I'll make it back here one of
Yeah.
these days. But yeah, I think it is interesting, and the metastatic community is unique and needs its own, programming and all of that kind of stuff. And I know there have been conversations around that and what that looks like, um, just because of a million different things, right? So
Yeah.
both staging, how it goes back and forth and all of that in terms of, we know that nobody wants to be stage 4, right?
No, it's
And
a club with a lot of cool people,
yeah,
but you don't really wanna join it.
No, not at all. Not
No,
at all. So I mean, I understand why there are some dynamics behind all of that, but we just got to keep navigating and talking about, what it means to live with metastatic
exactly.
breast
And
cancer.
sharing the hope, a lot of
Yeah,
I didn't tell my grandma when I was first diagnosed stage 4 for years, actually, because in her mind, stage 4 metastatic, all that is a death sentence.
for sure.
And we're proving it's not. We're proving it's just a different way of living, and,
Yeah,
that, yeah, we're going to have more challenges, but
yeah. Yeah, and that's what I've been spending a lot of time talking about is, I mean, and one of the things we talked about in San Antonio too with some of the other people who are stage 4 is that we've got to make all this progress on these different things, but it's like, oh my gosh, at least we're talking about them because we weren't even
yeah.
talking about those things in the past. It was just like, can we keep you alive?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember back in 2012, 2013, when I had my first progressions and stuff, just the conversation was so different from
Yeah,
today.
yeah,
There's drugs that I've been on that weren't out then.
yeah,
There's,
yeah,
it's wild to live through this, and see that and see that they are, attempting to, you know, give us life beyond,
yeah,
the 5 year.
yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And quality of life to go
Yes.
with that even. So is awesome. And you are definitely proof of that. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and telling us about your boys. And you people will love this hearing from you.
Uh,
So
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to finally meet you.
thank you for listening to I'm Still Here. If this episode really resonated with you, one of the best ways you can support the podcast is by sharing it with someone else who you think would benefit from it. If you have questions or a topic you'd like to cover in future episodes, you can reach me through the contact form at www.heatherjose.com. And if you've been living with metastatic breast cancer for 10 years or more, and you would like to share your story, you can apply to be a part of the Sensational Survivor Series using the link in the show notes. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next week.